What's up, everybody? We've got a pretty cool project. We've got countertops going in a mobile command center for the school district police. We're going to teach you how to properly coat these countertops with stone coat epoxy, but that's going to lead me to 3 frequently asked questions. Number 1, can epoxy countertops go on RVs? Absolutely. Lightweight, they got a little flex, super durable, definitely can go in your RV. Number 2, can I put a vinyl decal underneath my epoxy and preserve it with stone coat? Absolutely. Few pro tips that you're going to learn in this video on how to work with vinyl underneath your epoxy. And the third one, can I create a solid color countertop? 100% yes. What you don't want to do is just grab any colored latex paint and paint your board and cover it with clear epoxy. That's going to showcase and highlight any imperfection, any holiday, any paint chip on your substrate with that clear epoxy. The right move to do is to tint your clear epoxy with any one of our dye colors or metallic color, get that down as your substrate, follow that with your crystal clear epoxy, and now your finish goes from DIY to professional, and all the same amount of epoxy is being used. All right, guys, now let's get to work. The cops, they did a good job at prepping our boards for us. They got our black epoxy undercoat down. I'm gonna peel up this vinyl because that's gonna come back after we get our black epoxy on these boards. We'll mix up 3 ounces per square foot. We're at about 80 square foot. Each one of these is about 20. Tint that solid black. Get that out on the board, get rid of all the air with a blowtorch, let that cure. We'll come back the next day, reapply the thin blue line, reapply the vinyl stickers, and then follow that with a crystal clear coat. When the clear coat dries, ultimate top coat, and then we're ready to install. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We do all sorts of projects here at Stone Coat. Floors, countertops, shower walls, and more. And while you're at it, leave a comment below on what kind of epoxy projects that you want to learn more about. Now let's get back to work. We're mixing up some countertop epoxy. A couple mixing pro tips. Part B is thinner than part A, which if you put part A in here, it's just gonna sink right to the bottom. So if you put B in first, that's kind of a little buffer to keep part A from just sinking right to the bottom and the sides. Makes it a little easier to mix. Second pro tip, and a very important one, you want to scrape the sides and bottom of your bucket with a paint stick midway through mixing. That's going to incorporate any undermixed epoxy clinging to the sides right into your mixture. You always want to make sure you start out with a good mix before every epoxy project. That way, it's going to cure and dry perfectly and last for years to come. Get your phone out, put on a 3-minute song. Your favorite 3-minute song, press play, and you're going to mix this material till that song is done. Midway through, scrape the sides, pick it up, mix it again, you're good to go. In the winter months, the epoxy's colder. So you could set that in front of a space heater that warms it up, makes it easier to mix. The smaller batches of epoxy you mix may turn white. What is that? That's air bubbles incorporated into that mixture while mixing the smaller batches. So a small little cup, a pint, 16 ounces, I'll mix by hand. You're gonna have much less bubbles than that. What happens when your epoxy turns pure white? Is it still usable? 100%. You're going to use that propane torch or a heat gun and pass it across the surface. That eliminates all those micro bubbles that you incorporate while mixing. I've mixed up a lot of epoxy in my life. That's why I'm mixing up 4 full gallons. As a newbie, don't do this. Mix up a gallon at a time. I'm putting about a gallon on each one of these. So I'm going to tint this completely black. And I'm going to go pour my gallon out. Then Luke is going to set the camera down and help me spread this, get rid of the air, then we're gonna let it cure. All right, here's a couple best practices when pouring out your mixed epoxy. Take your material and pour it out in a nice big ribbon right in the center of your project. Then the next step, you can either grab our 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch square notch trowel or use your gloved hands, but we're gonna kind of mix the material in that ribbon before we start to spread it. Then we're gonna spread that material, keeping it away from our edges initially, getting it on the field, and then our final step, we use our gloved hands, rub our edges till they're completely coated. Then we're gonna grab a heat source to eliminate any of the air bubbles. Usually takes about 3 passes with a heat gun or a blowtorch to eliminate that air. We'll let this cure overnight, come back tomorrow for the next step. material's been spread across the field, I'm going to take some and spread it over our edges. And then follow that back with your gloved hand. I'm gonna rub this, rolls over that edge well, and then I come below and I'm saturating the bottom edge here with the epoxy also. Now that I've troweled it, I come back with my gloved hand and kind of feather. You could really feel any humps, and I'll just feather any humps of epoxy out across the surface. And now you can see all the air bubbles. We're going to use a propane torch for this step, and about an inch or so from the surface, just keep the torch moving in a steady pace and work your way across the entire surface. You'll notice the heat hits the surface, breaks the surface tension, and the bubbles pop. That simple. Okay, all right guys, now, no need to torch your edges. We now have a bubble-free epoxy that's gonna be self-leveling over our edges, making sure that those are nice and smooth as the product cures. Here's some pro tips on curing best practices. Kill the AC. What that does, every time the AC kicks on or heater kicks on, it's gonna poof out a little bit of lint, and then that's gonna come settle as little high point boogers on your project. Second thing, kill those lights. The lights have a reflection on the shiny epoxy. If you have any bugs, any flying critters in the workshop, they're gonna head right to that light reflection, and now they have preserved themselves in your beautiful new countertop. Third thing, keep those temperatures above 60, 65 degrees on that first few days of curing. That's gonna give you the strongest, best results long term. All right, I'm gonna hit those edges one final time with my gloved hand, and then I'm out of here for the day. All right, so we're gonna give us a thin blue line, a 1/2 inch wide, center of our island. Instead of using blue tape, I'm gonna paint it on. It'll be nice and clean. I'm gonna do 2 rows of tape, so I'm gonna go, I'll give us my 1/2 inch line, so I'm at 8 1/4 and 8 3/4. I told you, steps are simple. Find center, get your 2 rows of tape, put on some plastic, we're ready to paint. Thin to win here, don't load it up. I'm gonna do a couple thin coats is all. Yeah, that's like pretty close to the same color of that blue tape. Spray paint dries really fast when you apply it nice and thin. So I'll be back in a few minutes to apply another coat. I'll put my stars on the blue line and the apple to the black line. All right, we found center point. We got our battle plan. Pro tip, have 1 extra sticker whenever applying something. You never know when it's gonna mess up. And now you've gotta redo it also. We've got our 2 blue stars. The blue stars are gonna go in our thin blue line. And then I'm gonna do the center point lines right on the center of my apple here, and that's going to get our logo dead center here. Just make sure any debris is gone, because you don't want a little high point underneath your vinyl. We get asked all the time, do I have to do a clear coat over my color coat? Is it 100% necessary? No. But it's very valuable for your epoxy project, no matter what that epoxy project is. It gives us a sanding layer to do our ultimate top coat. So when I come back tomorrow and do my ultimate top coat on this, I'm less concerned with my rolled edges, because now I have another layer of epoxy there. If this is your color coat, you know, you have marble all over this project. You're coming back tomorrow, I'm gonna save 50 bucks and not do my clear coat. Save the time. And you're going to sand for your ultimate top coat, and you sand a little aggressively on that rolled edge, and you sand right through that epoxy, what are you going to do then? You're going to say, I really wish I would have had that clear coat on there. And it's a simple process. It adds durability, depth. Definitely recommend doing a clear coat over any epoxy project. And if you're after the really high gloss, glass-like finish, that's gonna be your final coating. If you want a little more durability, longer lasting, not gonna show the wear and tear as quick, go to our Ultimate Top Coat. That's gonna give you that leathered granite look. Really elegant, very durable. All right, we're taking our mixed clear epoxy, just like yesterday. Nice big ribbon. We'll mix it, we'll spread it, we'll get rid of the air bubbles, we'll let it cure, and then we'll be back tomorrow for the final step. No technical skills needed for clear coat, guys. Most important part of that job is the mix. And then from there, use our square notch trowel, use your gloved hands. We're spreading material, eliminating air. So if anything, guys, whenever you have a vinyl emblem, sticker, really babysit that guy. The bubbles, the micro bubbles, like static electricity, like to cling to that. So what I like to do, I just torch my whole piece, and when I come back over my vinyl, rather than be nice and close, I lift it up a hair, give it a little dance with that torch, walk away, come back, and I'll just hit this a couple more times. It's pretty good already though, so just come back and check on that. All right, guys, clear coat is complete. That steps in our tail lights. We're gonna let this cure overnight, kill all these lights. We'll be back tomorrow for the ultimate top coat. We're also gonna eliminate those drips. See you tomorrow. All right, those tops cured out perfectly. Just what I wanted when I came back. So we're ready to do the drips and then the ultimate top coat. And to eliminate those drips very fast, insanely fast steps, we're gonna use a metal fiber sanding disc. This one's 80 grit. They come 50, 80, I think even 120. It can grind and sand metal really fast. It eliminates epoxy drips like a hot knife through butter. So I'm gonna hold on the leading edge. So as the disc spins this way, I'm gonna hold up a little bit and hit all those drips. Take that real high point off at first and then follow it back and eliminate that. I'm gonna leave a very small amount of epoxy on my bottom edge. That's gonna protect that MDF's bottom edge there from any water and wear and tear. You know, down the road, this will last a very, very long time inside that SWAT van. After the drips are eliminated, I'll flip them over, switch over to my random orbital sander and sand with 320 grit, and then apply the ultimate top coat. Step one, whenever using the matte ultimate top coat, the matting agents are added into this, so they'll settle if they sit on the shelf for too long. So be sure to give your matte ultimate top coat a vigorous shake before using. No need to shake part B. After measuring and pouring in part A and B at a 2-to-1 ratio, you're going to mix for about 30 to 60 seconds. After that, add the required amount of water and then mix again for another 30 to 60 seconds. You'll notice initially the product is quite thick. When the material hits itself, it's a mound. It's not self-leveling instantly. So we're gonna add that water, mix again. I'm gonna add our 4 ounces, 3.84 ounces, and then mix again. Pour it into a paint pan. Let's get to work. So remember, you want a nice amount of material on there. Resaturate your roller. I'll apply it, work one direction, and then come back and work the next direction. Grab some more material. Give yourself a little room. A lot of common mistakes are people don't put enough material on initially. Back here. And now I'm going to feather out some of these higher lap lines with my same wet roller. Just trying to get it as even as possible before I switch it over. Don't forget those edges. It's a pain in the butt to come back after you have that surface looking fantastic and you went, oh, my edges. Dry roller here and begin to remove excess material off this project. These things have already cleared out. I told you, don't freak out when you see milky material go down. When it dries, it becomes crystal clear. Just like yesterday, we'll kill the lights. We'll kill the AC just so it doesn't poof out little lint as that ultimate top coat is drying. And then these will be ready for install. I like to let them dry at least 24 hours. Best case scenario, 48, because then they're gonna be good to go. You could stack them face to face, get them to the job site. No damage, we'll be done. When using the UTC as a final top coat, you can get to using these epoxy countertops much sooner. You're gonna use light use for that first week or so. If this was just epoxy, no ultimate top coat, I'm talking light use for the first 30 days as that epoxy is still curing to its maximum durability. If you're gonna be cooking in a crock pot all day on your brand new countertops, set them on a cutting board and make sure there's feet under that cutting board, allowing air to pass right on through, and that's gonna extend the lifespan of your countertops. All right, we're gonna kill the lights and let these cure overnight, and then our good friends Tomaz Coast to Coast, Casey and Igor, are gonna run over here in a couple days, pick them up, go do the install, and then we're gonna show you how they look in that San Antonio swap bus. I'm tired, let's get out of here.
Welcome to the bus. Okay, this is our little conference area. We flipped the seats, added some lighting. This is our panel. This powers everything. These are tinted out so you can't see in. Stepping through here. This is the conference room. These will be their TVs. This is a beautiful epoxy table. All the soundproof paneling. Fridge. And then their final little office area and pocket door.